What's up, guys? Mindless again. I want to take a quick sec and share another piece out of my collection. Today, this is kind of a special one to me, and I say that a lot, but they're all special, trust me. To me, at least. This is, we're taking a look at Gus Cecchini's horsepower model GTC knives out of Brazil. I mentioned this, the reason I'm doing this video this week is I've had a lot of requests for it. Last week I did a video on a kickstop Hokkaido from Lee Williams and Dr. John Barker, and I mentioned alternative flipper technologies. They use the kickstop, and I mentioned the spring-loaded tab from Gus, and this is my model of choice with the spring-loaded tab. And there you can see it right there. This is the horsepower model. Again, it does use the SLT spring-loaded tab. You can see it right there. And it lends itself for some great flipping action. You can see how it is loaded up. Let's see if we can get this thing to focus. And it flips like a beast. We're looking at a 3.5-inch blade, hand rubbed satin with a GTC maker's mark right there. Overall length is right at 8 inches. Full titanium slab handle with a back spacer. Milled titanium clip. The clip and the back spacer are anodized like a deep royal blue. Beautiful millwork here to save weight, but also very aesthetically pleasing. Beautiful work. You can kind of see right through the blade that way. But the main draw for this piece, guys, is that SLT. In typical Gus fashion, the action is perfect, running on his own GTC bearings, stainless steel bearing balls, custom pivot, but it's all about the flipper tab. So, unlike the kickstop, the spring-loaded tab actually is connected to the bottom of the blade on the tang, and it travels around into the lock position. On the kickstop, when you deploy, the actual kickstop tab rests up on top and it becomes the stop pin. This uses conventional stop pin technology, but there's the flipper tab right at the bottom. The lock bar engages behind the flipper tab, the spring-loaded tab. You can see it right there. So when you're looking from the front, it looks as though it's not engaging, but it is. The lockup is solid, no movement, left or right. It's just a great, great piece. The action is amazing. You can light switch it. You can also push button it. And strangely enough, in this knife, in conventional flippers, if you push button the knife, normally deployment's a little quicker. On this one, it's the same, whether you push button or light switch. So it's just a great, great piece. It fires extremely, extremely fast. The SLT technology was introduced on a model called the Airborne, and I have one of those, but it's an extremely large knife. This is a piece that I can actually take out into the world and carry around, and I do. It's a beautiful piece. There's a little bit of belly in the blade, so it's got great cutting performance. The swedge on top, you can see it right there, it makes for a nice thick point. And just typical Gus fashion, it's executed perfectly, literally perfectly. If you look at the hand rub lines, they actually curve with the belly of the blade. No hooks or anything, it's perfectly done. There you can see Gus's custom pivot he uses on all his models. Just a gorgeous piece. On the presentation side, you do not see any hardware but the pivot, and there's a small lanyard opening. On the lock bar side, the pivot, again, exactly the same. They're symmetrical. And then you see Gus's custom hardware holding it together. He chooses to put the lanyard hold right in the middle of the two, and I think that's a great feature. It kind of hides the lanyard hole in a strange way. And then those screws are tapped into the back of the presentation side, so it's a really clean, clean presentation. And beautiful, beautiful piece. It is not, in my opinion, a really tactical knife. It's more of a dress piece. There is no finger guard and there is no jimping. So it can slide forward. Your hand could slide forward in hard use. So this is kind of a office carry, beautiful piece. And not having the conventional flipper tab hanging down lends to a very clean, straight design. He gives you a little bump right there, just so that you have a first finger choil and the middle finger kind of lock in, and it's all there right there. This is the kind of standard position for it of your grip. A gorgeous, gorgeous piece. You know, I've been slowly building my GTC knife collection over the last couple years, and I come to this piece and carry this piece the most of all. I have a video in the past, maybe a couple months ago, you could take a look at it. It's kind of showcasing the full-size sticks and the reduced sticks. Both are beautiful pieces. But I always come back to this one, and I think it's a very lightweight piece. The SLT technology is just great to play with. You find yourself flipping over and over and over, and you know, it just fires so hard. It's such a good flipper. You know, I've heard discussions and forums and other videos about the SLT technology, in that there's a spring in here and eventually that could fail. And I'm just going to talk from personal experience. I've flipped this knife at least 1,000 times, and the spring tension is exactly the same as when I first got it. It's perfect. And Gus stands behind his work completely, you guys. He wouldn't release a model unless it was vetted, tested, and he knows without a doubt it will perform and stand the test of time. But just a great, great looking knife. I think so, at least. It's kind of polarizing. I've shown this to other knife collectors, and some of them just do not like it. They find the shape odd. I think it's gorgeous. If you take a look at the silhouette, perfectly balanced. It's just gorgeous to me. To me, this is the epitome of Gus's futuristic design language. All his pieces have that kind of halo, future, you know, video game, knifey kind of thing. And this is another one in that vein of design, and I love it. I absolutely dig it. This knife is good. And you can talk about everything, but again, it's all about that spring-loaded tab. It fires so hard, you guys. Beautiful piece. We'll take a quick close-up of it before we wrap up. In the other video I did it for the sticks and the reduced sticks, I kind of go into more background about Gus as a maker, and I'm planning on doing a showcase video where I just lay out all the GTCs that I have and kind of give you a little bit more in depth about Gus the man and, you know, what he does down in Brazil. But if you've never handled a GTC knife, you kind of need to, because there is a reason his knives are so coveted. I know they're pricey, but they are worth the money. The quality and the execution of what he does is unquestionable. This horsepower model is absolutely beautiful. If you take a look at the milling work, it's perfect. There are no rough edges. Each line is perfectly balanced. Spacing is perfect. Just an all-around gorgeous piece. Chamfered edges. There's a thumb cutout for lock bar disengagement. And in typical fashion, you can kind of see in the backspacer, if I can get this to focus, Gus usually will mark the blade. This one is CPM 154, the horsepower, model designation, and the year it was built. And there's, like I said in the other video, when a maker hand inscribes anything on a blade, it just drives like collectors like myself just bananas. We go crazy for that stuff. There you can see a better picture of it. There's no doubt this is a custom piece when that happens, and it's that personal touch from a maker the caliber of Gus Cecchini that, you know, makes these pieces so collectible. Guys, I dig this knife. This is a great knife. if you like the way it looks, you either love it or you don't. There's no in between, especially at the price. You've got to love it for this price. You know, again, I mentioned I have the Airborne. It's just too large to carry. I love it. It's great. It's a beautiful piece. It's a great conversation starter. But this is a realistic size, and you get that SLT technology. Just gorgeous, gorgeous. And the question is the kickstop better or is the SLT better, the spring-loaded tab? And honestly, they're both awesome. This is the evolution of flipper technology. You know, I'm sure, you know, Stan Wilson has the non-flipper flipper, which is a much more complex way of deploying without a flipper tab. And I'm sure down the road someone else will come up with something else. But for now, the kickstop and the SLT are accessible and they work and they're reliable. So I like it. Which one is faster? Honestly, I can't say. I think they're both quicker. I can't see this thing flipping any faster than it already does. I love them both. You know, I don't know. When I handle the kickstop models, it seems like they flip a little quicker, but that could be because they have larger blades. You know, I have the kickstop on the Hokkaido, and I also have it on the Tom Mayo Lee Williams collaboration, the Donk model. Honestly, I would never pick between the two. They're both amazing in their own ways. But we should just focus on this and Gus's amazing work. He executes at the highest level of quality. Absolutely beautiful piece. You know, when I post on the days where I carry this piece and I post on Instagram, this particular knife gets a lot of comments and a lot of likes. I think it's because I have never seen a video on YouTube about it. It's just a strange, beautiful piece of knife art. Absolutely gorgeous. And it's 100% custom. And the action is just ridiculous, guys. This knife is dope. It's a good knife. If you ever can grab one or handle one, I would play with it, flip it a few dozen times, and really begin to realize how amazing it is. And it makes a great sound, too. You hear the, when you flip it, you hear the spring-loaded tab slapping back onto the tang, and then the lock bar engages, so it's got that cool double click that you hear on carries and other top makers. This is just a great piece. Absolutely beautiful. And again, my favorite GTC knife. If you ever get an opportunity to be on his books, I would highly recommend getting something with the SLT technology on it. Not to say that the regular flipper stuff isn't good, but this is beautiful work and very creative. Absolutely beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. And different than the kickstop. Different than the kickstop. I've heard discussions that, you know, Gus came up with this after working and with Lee on a couple projects, but it's not the same, guys, at all. Completely different. Again, it's just two master knife makers trying to come up with new engineering methods to push knife technology forward, and I totally appreciate that. Centering is perfect on this. It's spot on. Beautiful. Just an absolutely gorgeous example of Gus's work. Flip it a couple more times just because it's freaking dope. And you could just, it's kind of a forward flipper. You just kind of grab it and boom. Awesome. Awesome piece. I'm glad I could share it with you guys. Thanks so much for stopping in and supporting the channel. If you like it, throw me a like. Please subscribe. You know, I'm trying to share these rare collectible pieces rather than letting them sit in a safe or a Pelican. I absolutely love watching other videos from other collectors, so I figured, you know, why not take a look at these as well. So I appreciate you stopping in. This is the horsepower model from Gus Cecchini, GTC knives with the spring-loaded tab technology. Thanks for stopping in. Take it easy, fellas.